Hello, this is Greg Fanbook of Greg's Mind, and I am now gonna be reading off to you the very long prologue that I wrote for Pitfall, which I did earlier today. Near the end, I kind of got wiped out, but it's still good throughout. Um, the only other thing is that I used the word terror, I think, yeah, as the name for Earth in the future. So this story takes place far into the future. So with that, let's begin. The point of view is from Keika, which is a priestess in the story. Okay. My my arms gently moving with the winds around me as I dance with them atop a cliffside that overlooks the vast wilderness of the small tribe that I have migrated to. My home, not too far from here and warded out of a tree which allows my inhabitants. I've been here a while and even partook in their ceremony before the previous priestess moved on. She put in a good word for me when I took her place, but that was after dropping my previous title of a boarding. It was tiring, and I wanted to be free of those demanding energies. A man took my place, and I feel he's far more suited to the role than I was. One barefoot in front of the other, I continue as new energies filter into the rainbow of colors that I see. Once called the wind is now just energies. These newer colors are far more vibrant, far more energetic, though one wouldn't notice unless they were perfectly attuned with all the subtle changes of the wind. I glide as my feet now stand upon the air just beside the cliff, and I allow myself to be picked up by the energies as I am a natural conduit for them. In a sense, I feel them all, allowing some to go back to Tar, while others stay within me to heighten my senses so that I can feel more and love more. I have become the wind itself as I allow my body to move whichever way the wind asks. Far below is an indent, the tribe called the Pit, their traditional ceremony which has been passed down through the ages is known as the Fall. Pitfall, as I have taken to calling it, when one is old enough, they, when one is old enough, they have to fix that. When one is old enough, we have a lavish ceremony involving most of the tribe's folk and guide the child in so they can reawaken the dormant memories by reliving one first. This lends to an abundance of energies held within, and because of that, Tara has trouble filtering them. It, uh, it's part of my goal to harmonize those so that there isn't a build-up. The trees all around me and those around the pit do equally as much as I. I direct them like a conductor. Their colors waxing and waning, the vibrancy of the wind around me tells me where they need to go and where they belong. But before that I had to get used to their feel, emphasized by the heaviness or lightness as it caresses the thin fabric that covers myself. A brilliant red flowing like water around me, each tug, each slack, all of it helps me direct this dance, this ceremony to aid in Tara's health. My humming begins to carry on the wind, aiding in their direction, and I am now very high in the air engulfed by the winds. But my body is relaxed, my mind is calm, and a very giddy enjoyment erupts from my open mouth as all of that vanishes. The energies have subsided, and my dance is over. I remain in the air for several moments, taking in the sun's warm blue rays, and when I do open my eyes after googling for some time, I see the large landmass hanging in the torrents that surrounds it. The sky, as it were. If I wanted to, I could fly there, but a small roar will be calling my name shortly, so I must return to my home for her. Wings of a hawk sprout from my back in an instant as I descend back to the ground, just above the pit where I first started. Clapping a few times for good measure, the near silence that once befell here returns to life. The animals can't always handle the denser energy, so they flee, and that for me is a good indication when I should walk with the energies once again here. A band around my arm, I tie my cornflower color hair up into a ponytail which extends well past my shoulders. I haven't had it this long in ages, so it feels good allowing it to flow once again, but it can get in my way. I smile at the silent thought which wanders through my mind as a cry comes from the forest and my eyes focus on the girl running towards me. There are tears in her eyes and snot running down her nose. Her tunic rather basic. Many of the children within the tribe wear similar-looking ones. A rope around the waist, and as she reaches me, she hugs my legs. Her hair a thin black, while her eyes are amber. Those born within the tribe all have amber eyes, so as she sees me, I see all of the tribe as her because of the familiarity. She stares up at me. Priestess, I hurt one of the boys. A loving smile on my face. Mine is one of the louder kids, far more assertive than the others, and enjoys that very much with the others, but ever since her own pitfall, she has been far more combative. I wonder if she's ready. The thought is more to myself, but seeing how emotional she is, I know, rather than guess, that she is ready. Mine, what happened? My voice soothing as she calms rather quickly, but I feel there is still anger in there from what I already know. One of the boys at the pond was playing with one of the girl's hair. I thought he was pulling on it, and I got mad. I punched him. Punched him? Didn't feel good, did it? I answer with a question, and she nods. Why didn't you ask what was going on? I didn't think to do so. I just acted. And what of the boy? I thought he was still playing. I think he's still playing. Why aren't you still playing, though? Because I felt bad for what I did. I didn't want to be near them anymore. I chuckle at the small fight she just had. It's something that rarely happens, but I find it also amusing, because it's always for the simplest of reasons. You're doing yourself more harm. Mine. I stare into her large amber eyes. They are red from crying all the way here. You should have stayed, apologized, and explained why you hit him. But the tears start to flow again as she holds up her right hand. It's clenched in a fist, and I see that she has scraped herself. There's hardly any blood, but she must be scared having this be her first wound. Kneeling down, so I am at eye level with her, I see my reflection back. I've hardly aged, even though I am over 300 years old. It's not something important that I or anyone keeps track of. Those are outcomes no one wants when one keeps themselves limited. No wrinkles, and as always a pleasant smile on my own cool blue eyes as I stare back at her. I take her fist in my hand and rest my lips upon the wound, action in silence for the wound to heal, and in an instant it's healed. But really it was just channeling my own life energies to her damaged skin. A large grin appearing on her face as she yanks her fist from my hand, and then comes forward, embracing me in a hug and thanking me. It's quite alright, I tell her, patting her on the back, and we part, but she remains growing quiet. Once again, her excitement diffusing, and she looks at me once again. Still kneeling, I await for her to ask what she will. I already know what she wants to ask, but I allow her to be the one to ask it. Through her or though her aura says as much already, and I'm prepared for what's to come. Priestess Keika, can you help me understand where my anger comes from? Like a loving parent, as I am one for her at least, her parents left to explore Terra, and she was left in my care, but she hardly needs it. Though every now and then, such as events like this, she comes back, but this is a first. I've known it's been on her mind almost since she left the pit. Why don't you share with me the memory from the pit? You requested that you go in alone. It was very unusual, I tell her, and backs away a bit, holding on to the hem of her tunic before looking at me. I look bleh. I looked like you, but with wrinkles. I was in a bed covered with many fabrics. I had wires all around me and attached to me. I felt very weak, but in my mind I was very angry. Angry at something or someone. I didn't like it. I felt stuck, she says as she's looking at the ground before her toes wiggling on the grass. I want to know where my anger comes from. She repeats the request and I stand back up, talking with the energies around us as the ground changes like water. The rather barren land we stand upon, aside from the trees that encircle the area, is for the ceremonies performed. But there is no harm in setting up something new for mine to help or with this choice. Walking away from her, she watches my back as I start to move my arms, once again, conducting the energies to form before us an arch out of the ground we stand upon. But beyond is something far grander, that which would give mine a bit of fun as she makes this decision for herself. Turning on her, I motion towards the arch. What lies beyond is a maze, something which all of you will traverse, and only the one to reach me on the other side will learn where their anger comes from. She walks forward, looking with wide eyes at me, then at the arch. Are there others? I look around her, and I feel the energies of the others, as mine has come to a crossroad. And there are many that want to know the very same answer to the question which she has asked. Are there others? Yes, I tell her, kneeling down once again before her and resting both hands on her cheeks while tilting her head back a bit to plant a kiss upon her forehead, where her own mind's eye lies. Hardly used yet, it's no wonder she can't see what I can. She giggles, telling me it tickles as I part from her. She rubs her forehead, but now she looks around. Her understanding is limited, but I think she sees many other white silhouettes around her, each one a different version of her. It's no more than I can see right now, but I'll have a deeper look. So she's deeper in a bit. Walking away from mine changes. Walking away, and mine charges forward towards the arch, but with a wave of my finger The dart encases her ankles, preventing her from moving, and she falls forward with a shock. Patient, Patience, mine, I tell her. When I'm on the other side, you'll be released. You start then. I take in the now while walking away from her. There is no rush for such a decision so quickly, but she has been dwelling on it. Maybe it's for the best that it comes from the forefront. As I taste the maze, as I taste the maze, I see now that it is far larger. I didn't expect that, but I guess Tar has different plans, and so added her own influence into the size. When I do come to the end, I call forth the ground, a seat forming for me to sit upon, and I do, cross-legged. Closing my eyes and using my mind's eye, I have a instant aerial view now, and as I had suspected, there are various other versions of mine all standing, waiting quietly for the go. 26 in all. But why is there only one of me? I smile at the thought, knowing the answer already. Because I am in alignment. My mind isn't as scattered as hers, and through growth she'll become the same way. Rising a hand, I clench my fist, and I see mine, brought from where she has yet to pick herself up from when she fell. One of the first to enter the maze. There are others, but some meander within the arch before walking back out and vanishing. 6 of them do this. All 6 of them also not as human-looking as, and so very distant from the emotion of anger. Whether they understood that themselves, I don't know. It's another caicas to deal with. None of them are very far as they continue, though as one, a pink-haired mine, has started trying to climb up the wall. She's very talented with her own energies, but that won't do. There are no shortcuts in this as I speak. You mustn't cheat, I say, poking the air before me and the ground, and the ground flows. A pillar jettisons out in front of where mine is climbing. She ends up falling backwards as a form darts into the maze. Different clothing, but unmistakably me. A different version of myself entering the maze to prevent her from falling. Those 2 vanish as well, and what catches my attention is mine. The black-haired and amber-eyed one has noticed this. She stares at She stares where both of the pink-haired and she stares at there where both the pink-haired mine and a different version of myself vanished. She then vanishes as well, and I smile as I knew this would happen. Then I am a variable, I say, watching on as more and more of the mines try to get to the end of the maze. Some give up, some start throwing fits, but leave, some start walking the other way through the maze and vanish. There are few now, as a ringing happens in my ears, and in moments I understand what is unfolding before me. A small choice that will lead to many choices and direct another's life. But I also understand my own involvement, and I cherish the excitement that will be coming from this single girl's choice. As it comes down to 2 now, a black long-haired mine with beautiful violet eyes and a blonde with green eyes. What once was 26 has dropped to 2. 2 who still want to learn where their anger comes from. But which one does the anger belong to? Because it helps no one if the wrong person reaches me. I smile as the last 2 now approaching the back arch, the one that will lead to me. It's the blonde-haired man that leaves the maze and rushes toward me with a large grin on her face and smiling. You will help me find where my anger comes from, she asks, and I pat her on the head. Looking back at the archway, the violet-eyed man looks at me from afar, and I feel so much guilt and worry within her that I know she can't be the one who wants to learn of her anger. She has other lessons to take on, though the ones that I will now teach this mind aren't meant for anyone else but her. Her face is oddly round as well, as I take in her smile and how she looks. She isn't the same girl that stepped into the maze, but nonetheless I am perfect for her, and maybe she'll grow into her head. She's still young. I will indeed, I tell her as she hugs me and we laugh, but now isn't right. We must wait for everything to be in place. She nods, ready to take on anything, but I do worry about what she is going to take on. It's not easy, and that's where the waiting comes in. She'll need to grow into what she'll be faced with. I continue to ruffle her hair, staring into her bright eyes and letting myself feel the bliss of the moment. And that is the prologue of Pitfall. And I do have a lot to edit in the first 12 chapters. I kind of rushed through them, but I know what I'm doing. So you can check it out. The 1 through 18 chapters are on Google Doc. Everything else is on the Kindle Villa. Give it a check. And that's about it. So have a good day and goodbye.